Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to wonderful, exciting week 5 of our ongoing coronavirus online lessons. Now, as hopefully you already know, online classes have been extended. So right now, I have been told that we will be studying indefinitely for the rest of the semester. We are planning to have class online, which is uh, terrible. I hate it, but we're going to try to do the best we can. So hopefully we'll be able to get back into class soon. But right now we are planning that everything is going to be online, which means your midterm exam will be online. We are still trying to figure out how exactly that is going to happen, but let me go over our schedule with you on my beautiful, exciting calendar. Why, yes, I do have children. How did you know? So this is technically today. It's Friday the 10th when I am filming this. I'm making week 5 class. That is in here April 13th to 18th. This week of classes is week 5. Now, this is going to be our last week of the regular class before the midterm. Next week in here, during this week from the 20th to the 25th, is going to be a review week for the midterm. There is going to be an online quiz that you will need to complete as a test run for how the the midterm exam is going to work. Okay? Please take it. It will be graded. It is going to count as part of your grade. And we want to know if you have any problems filling in all of the different questions. The midterm exam is going to be on this week from the 27th to the 2nd of May. Okay? Now, important things to understand. The midterm is going to be entirely online. They are going to be questions based on the topics that we have studied here on these different videos. The good news is you have the videos. You can go back and watch them as many times as you want to help you understand. The bad thing is there's no interaction between us now, which is difficult. I have been slowly making my way through the submissions that you have done, and I'm very far behind because I hate watching all of your videos because honestly, they're super boring. So sorry. But I know that you hate watching these videos that I put out, so I feel the same way. But that does not mean I do not want you to keep doing them, and I want you to keep practicing your English. So, any questions? Please send me a message, send me an email, and I will do what I can to help you, okay? So please check back throughout the week to get more information about the midterm exam and the quiz that will happen next week, week 6 of class. Okay? Understand? Fair enough? Good. So, you may be asking, teacher, are you drinking whiskey as you're teaching? Yes, I am. We're in lockdown. Of course, I am drinking. Which brings up an important point. I often drink whiskey, usually drink whiskey, which is the topic that we're going to be talking about today. Not whiskey, adverbs. Okay, these are the things that we are going to be talking about. Starting with these 3 words. Always, sometimes, and never. Okay? These words are what we call frequency adverbs. I'm sorry if this is difficult for you to see. Frequency adverbs tell you how many times something happens. they go together with a verb. What they do is they change that verb and give you additional information, okay? Basically, think of them as a percent, okay? About how many times that thing happens. If it's something that you always do, okay, that's 100% of the time. If it's something that you never do, great, 0%. Okay, sometimes, 50% of the time you do that thing, okay? I always do it. I never do it. I sometimes do it. Here's the important thing to understand when you are going to be making this kind of sentence. Where these go is very important, okay? If you are making a sentence, I play games, okay? The adverbs go in front of the action verb. I always play games, okay? I sometimes play games. I never play games. Basically, it goes in front, okay? Simple enough. But it gets much more complicated than that. If you are not using an action verb, if you are going to be using a be verb, meaning am, is, are, okay? The adverb does not go in front. I always am happy is incorrect. These adverbs go after the be verb. Okay, you would say, I am always happy. Okay, she is always crazy. They are always late. Whatever you're going to be talking about, this is what you want to include. If it's an action verb, it comes in front. If it's a be verb, after. Okay? If you're using both of them, like, for example, I am always playing games. Fine. It goes in the middle between the be verb and the action verb. Okay? The important thing to remember is putting this adverb in does not change anything else in the sentence. Okay? If you're going to say a sentence like, she plays games, remembering you need to include the S here. She plays. Okay? Putting in sometimes does not change anything. Yeah, sometimes has an S. Does not matter. She sometimes plays games. She sometimes play is wrong. Okay? So, any questions? Hopefully not, because I can't hear you if you do. One important thing to understand when you are talking about always, something that people get confused is always does not mean every day. Okay? When people say something like, I always go to school, that does not mean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they go to school. Of course, you go to school the days that you have class. When people say, I always go to school, that means on the days of school, I go. Okay? In the same style, if I say, I always have a birthday party, that does not mean every day. Birthday party, birthday party, birthday party. That would be crazy. It means when I have a birthday, I have a birthday party. Okay? That's the idea of always. Every time something happens, you do that thing. Okay? I always read books at night. I always, what? have a party on my birthday. I blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense? Okay. So, next, important things to understand. There are a lot more of these adverbs. Always, sometimes, never are the most common. People use these all the time. But there are a lot more. Okay? The next most common ones would be adding in usually and often. Okay? And down here, rarely. Okay? Usually, many times. Okay? Maybe, I don't know, 75%. Often, 60%. Okay? None of these are very precise with the percentage. It's about. If you often do something, it means, yeah, many, many, many times that you do it. Sometimes, no. Okay? That's the idea. But all of the ones in the middle are pretty flexible. Okay? Rarely, many, many times, no. But a little bit, yes. Okay? Rarely and never are not the same. I had a student once who was confused, and he thought saying he rarely did something meant that it did not happen. And his sentence was, I rarely kill people. Well, that is terrifying. Okay? Rarely means a couple times, yeah. Maybe one day in 100, I kill someone. That's still a lot of murder. That's not something you want to do a lot. Never should be your goal when it comes to killing people. Okay? So, rarely, 10%. Okay? And there are other words that are used less commonly. Okay? Big one is almost always. Almost always, yeah, 95% of the time. Okay? Another one is frequently. Frequently is not used commonly. This is a rarely used adverb, but it means, yeah, a little bit more than sometimes. Okay? Another one is seldom. Okay? Seldom is a little bit more than rarely, but less than sometimes. Maybe, I don't know, 40%. Okay? It is rarely used because I seldom play games. It doesn't sound very good. Okay? Two other big ones that come up more often is hardly ever and almost never. Both of which mean about 5%. A little less than rarely, okay? I almost never drink soju. I hardly ever, I don't know, go on a date, okay? When you're talking about things that happen and you want to discuss how many times, these words are extremely useful. And I try to divide them up in color based on how often people use them. Always, sometimes, never, most useful. Pay attention, learn those three at least. Okay? Usually, often, rarely, useful. Very common. People say them a lot. Almost always, frequently, seldom, hardly ever, almost never are not as common. People do not use them as much, but they do exist. Understand what they mean. Okay? Good? Now, one important thing to know is how to ask a question in this style. If you are going to ask about how many times something happens, the word that you want to use is often. Okay? The question specifically, how often do you blah, 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 blah. Okay? How often do you play games? How often do you read books? How often do you drink soju? How often do you come to school? Okay? Or, of course, it can be anything. How often are you late? How often are you at school? How often are you, whatever it's going to be. If you are going to be using an action verb, do you? Okay, how often do you play? Do you go? Do you sing? Do you dance? If you're going to be talking about a noun or an adjective, you would use are you. How often are you a student? How often are you happy? How often are you beautiful? Okay? The answer to any of these questions is going to be a sentence used with one of these. Okay? Oh, I'm always happy. Okay? I sometimes play games. All right? So, this is generally a pretty straightforward lesson. Hopefully you understand. This is a little shorter than what we are usually going to be doing. So here's what I would like you to do. From the material pack that I'm going to ask you to download, the materials for week 5. Number 1, this paper. Please fill this out. Look at the words that they give you. Rewrite the sentences to answer the questions using these words. Okay? Oh, he often listens to the radio. Okay? This one, what I would like you to do is look at this paper and answer the questions, okay, in a video. Because I know how much you love making videos and I love watching them. I want you to practice speaking these things, okay? You can write down sentences over here if you want, but I do not care. That is not going to be graded. I only care that you are going to be able to say these things. Read aloud your answers to a camera, answering questions as well as you can. Okay, what do you seldom do when you're in English class? Oh, I seldom answer questions. I seldom play on my phone. I seldom whatever. Okay, answer these questions as well as you can truthfully about you. Okay, so once again, please do the assignment. I understand that a lot of you have been slowly dropping off and interest in this class has waned, and I understand because that is boring. But we're going to be coming up on the test. I do not want you to fail out. The test is not designed to be difficult. I know these are trying times. I will do what I can to help you pass the midterm exam, but I need you to put in the bare minimum of effort to make sure that this gets done. So please complete all of the assignments. Please do the review next week. Write me a message. If you have any questions, I will do what I can to help you. And good luck on the midterm exam. Next week, we'll have a review, we will have a quiz, then the midterms will begin. Until then, best of luck.